All right, I think the camera is running. Let me make sure that we're going. I always want to check. So what I'm doing this afternoon is I'm getting some saws ready to do a couple tree jobs tomorrow. I've got 2 lined up. I think a total of 5 trees to do, so that'll give me some content and a little more money in my pocket. So I'll film tomorrow. I'll just have my friend film me when I'm cutting. I can get a little content out of it. I want to take a look at this new. This is a still Pico chain. Should be 24-inch Super Mini. I think that's what it is for, you know, Canon Super Mini. 80 drive links. I gotta remember that. And the reason that I'm gonna be using this chain, well, it may not be this one, I might just use my other one and just touch that one up, is because the Super Mini bar here is a little bit narrower in the height, but it's also a narrower curve, so I'll be able to, since these trees are not super big, having this smaller chain will help a little bit with that. So I'm gonna bring, the saws I'm bringing are this one, the Solo 694 with the 395 cylinder on it. I need to go in here and do some work to it. I'm not really that satisfied with how it runs, so I'm gonna do some work to that when I have time. I'm trying to get all these other saws back together. Depending on how long this process takes, I really want to get this 044, well, 440 hybrid back together and have this one back in my fleet. But the saws that I'll bring are this 694, this 466, 500i, 400C. I think that'll probably do it, I believe. And if so I'll be able to come home, I got to get my trailer for the second 2 trees I got to cut. 3 at one job, 2 at another. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. I'll just sharpen a couple extra chains here. As I mentioned in the previous video, I bought some new chains, and I have this Hexa chain that I want to try. I'm not going to get to this today, but I'd like to compare this Hexa chain, you know, with the rakers taken down. I'll take them all down the same. So do the Hexa chain versus the out of the box round ground, and then my square grind, to see, you know, what the percentage difference is between those 3 different chains. And then I might just throw the Super Mini in there just to show how much faster that little chain cuts, because it doesn't take as much power to spin the chain. So the first thing here is I gotta get this 400C ready. I've already got a chain ready for it. I was letting my friend run a saw for her first time, so I just threw a 20-inch on this one. Wasn't the best saw. I was gonna probably pick this one. You know, not as scary, a stock saw, but this one I got to do a little work to, and I didn't have time to get this done the other night. This saw is going to be the next one that I'm going to do some port work on. I've ordered some mandrels to make a squish band cutting mandrel and a base cutting mandrel. So the bad thing is I was ripping the firewood logs in half due to a miscommunication issue. I really like just to use my 880 for cutting the logs in half. This might not be the right screwdriver for this one, but I didn't understand how big the tree was. I thought that it was, he said that it was small, and it was not a small tree. It was like a 28-inch pine tree. It's a good thing I brought a 28-inch bar. It's always easier on your saw to, I don't need pliers here. I'm gonna clean all this out inside there. It was whining a little bit, so I shut it off and ran the other saws. But that pine really, the pine really loads your sprocket, everything up, especially when you're cutting them in half. like what I was doing in some of my shorts. Let's see if I can grab a hold of this. Come on. So blow all this out here and see. I gotta pump this air compressor up. Where we at PSI wise? So we're kind of low. Air pressure's pretty low. I'm gonna plug this in, then I'll go inside. It's pretty loud. But I already sharpened a couple chains yesterday. Just kind of chipping away at it here. So I got this 440. I need to get another workbench space going. I'll just maybe clean this one off here. It's got a ton of other stuff on it. I'm kind of limited on space, especially when I have multiple saws tore down. But the good news is I should be able to get this one going pretty soon. I'm just waiting on that carburetor. Oh, and that's kind of rubbing there. I just noticed that. I'll take my Dremel and take a little more material off of that. I took 30 thou out the base of that one. If you didn't see my other video of kind of, you know, the game plan on some of these saw projects, go watch my other, I guess it'd be the second most recent video, and I talk about this mandrel I made here, what's going on with the 661 case, this cylinder here. I'm going to try to throw the epoxy in here tonight before going to bed. So hopefully I'll be able to get that thing done this week and run that one next weekend. That's I guess what happens when you're busy all the time. So what this is going to be, and I kind of screwed up here a little bit. This is going to be some chainsaw shelves. I'll do one more shelf up there. I'm just going to transfer the boards from down here, you know, all around, all the way up there. So I'll be able to put all my saws up here. And my thinking is, you know, if this is the saw that I'm, you know, got a bar on it, I'll have them kind of sitting like this with the bar out, with the bar cover on, of course, and then just run my power head ones on this side. I kind of made a contour shape so I have a decent amount of bench room still. So yeah, transfer those boards up there, make one more shelf, so I'll have, you know, technically 1, 2, 3, 4 shelves to put all my chainsaws on. And I don't know, one of them I might put all these chains. I'm gonna buy a bunch more chains on the sale next weekend that we're having at my local still store. I'm probably gonna buy another 10. I got 10 here, or was 10. I've already sharpened one. But gonna get a couple more chains. Can't beat the price that they're offering it for. And the steel chains are the best, in my opinion. You're cutting a hardwood like what I am. I mean, you can't beat that steel chain and how long that it holds an edge for versus these, you know, these other chains. I might bring my 880. I don't know yet. I really want to bring at least 4 saws. I'll bring my 201 as well. That's always a useful little saw to have. Probably won't use it much, but always nice to have it. I just throw it in the back seat of my truck. The other ones are riding to bed. So I'm bringing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 saws should be plenty. When you go to someone else's house, you don't know what's happened to the trees that you're cutting. You know, it might smoke a chain hitting a nail. It's kind of why I'm gonna sharpen one of my old chains up here, and I'll run it through the first tree and kind of see, you know, how that one does. But I'd rather not run new chains at someone else's house where I don't know the history of the area, what someone was pounding into the tree, nails, you know, whatever it may be. So yeah, we're just talking here while my air compressor's pumping up. Then we'll get going on the chain sharpening. I'll probably do a little tutorial on how I sharpen chains. I feel like that's probably relevant to some of you guys out there. I'm almost through with that first wheel, and it really took about half a wheel to get my grind figured out on that grinder. I have a setup to run it in here, but it just makes my bench too dirty. So I really try to only sharpen outside and have my little umbrella out there so that I'm not standing in the sun. I've already stood in the sun most of the day today doing landscaping stuff. Shoveling, I think today we shoveled 4 ton of rock, pulled out a bunch of bushes. You know, like I don't know what kind of bush they were, but they had a lot of little thorns on them. They're like kind of like a fern type bush. I don't know anything about that, but I'm just the helper. My friend, he's got all that figured out. I'm just the helper guy that looking for a little extra money. He needed help. I needed a little extra money, so it was a win-win. I've ordered a couple of these, you know, I guess hardware kits. These are really nice now that they're available from like US sellers. It's always nice to just have a assortment of these, you know, still bolts. I feel that the aftermarket ones are good enough. I haven't had any issues with any of my modified aftermarket saws or modified Farmer Tech chainsaws. That's the only ones that I'll buy, just based off of what I've seen so far. I think that the quality is decent. If you do a couple of, you know, OEM or, you know, high quality aftermarket upgrades, you don't necessarily need to go OEM. It's just nice if you live in a still predominant area, then you can go to your still store, and just most of the time they have it right on in their little stock, you know, your kind of main things, spark plug, little clip here for the sprocket, you know, little things like that, chain adjuster, you know, all of my Farmer Techs minus this one and the 880s, I've put a OEM chain tensioner on it because I just want it to work smooth. I don't really like the Farmer Tech one. They need to upgrade that design a little bit so it's not so creaky, or, you know, it just doesn't work very nice. That should be enough pressure. We'll see what we're at. Yeah, it takes a while to get it all the way up to 200. Yeah, I will not be ripping any firewood with this one anymore. Any pine. But it doesn't look like I heard anything, so. I really like these new still saws. I think that the M-tronic is nice. I always come in here with my finger and just clean all that out. That doesn't need to be in there. Looking for that click right there. Now we know that my, oh, I forgot to put sprocket on it. Just a 7-tooth on this 400C. I really don't like running the 8 tooths at all. I think that it's just too hard on the chains. I'd rather have an aggressive 7 over a less aggressive 8. Like, it cuts faster anyways, and you got more torque, and your chain doesn't get beat up so bad. I mean, the 8 tooth is hard on the chains. That's, or 8 or more is hard on the chains. I'm running the 7. We'll get the 500 out here. We'll swap that 20-inch bar back on this little guy. Then we'll find a bar and chain for the 500 here. I was kind of thinking to run that Super Mini on this 500. But I kind of want to cut a lot with this one, so I may just run a standard 24 on it. Run a Super Mini on one of the other ones. The other thing is, you don't know what the condition of the trees are in. These are all alive, but I don't know if the core is rotted out or, you know, what exactly is going on. One thing I was kind of thinking about making And this is just my idea. I really like these West Coast side covers, but you can see how much thread that's in there. I was kind of thinking maybe make a little spacer that goes on the outside of the bar to give myself a little more width here. You know, to make to make this part in SolidWorks or whatever software you want to use. I think SolidWorks would be the easiest to make this one for me because I'm familiar with it. And then program it on FeatureCam. I mean, that would take quite a while. I really would like one for my 880, but it's not necessary. It's just kind of you know, your bling upgrade. 880's got a pretty big cover on it anyways. But these smaller ones, I mean, this is a nice upgrade, this West Coast side cover. Yep, this chain was cutting good. Cutting through the wood like butter, which is what we want. And clean this one up with air. And then what I like to do is I take my little saw blade thing here and I just clean out the rails. Just good measure. I'm sure it fills right back up because the chain, I mean, these bars are designed for you to be able to address the rails a couple times. So this will continue to just fill up down there where the rakers are not cleaning it out, but this is just what I'm doing. At a minimum, you got to clean out back here where your oil goes, otherwise you're not getting any bar oil. Nah, it's not good. So throw this one on this 400. I like this 20-inch lightweight for the 400. That's probably what it'll stay, even in ported form. I think I want to do that oil pump upgrade. Just checking it real quick. Put that 462 oil pump on it. From what I've heard here is these the 462 in the ported form is still behind this 400C in ported form. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't really have any desire to buy a 400 or a 462. I like how lightweight and small this one is. It's a big difference between this one and the 500i. I mean, the 500i is a great saw, but this one's a lot smaller and a lot lighter. So it's the perfect limb saw. The other thing is, I don't really feel that it's worth anything to me to run any shorter chain than a 20. So I'm already bending over a good bit with this little 20-inch, but it's perfect for limbing and cutting the small stuff. Even this just bolt-on 400C flies through the little stuff, as you've seen in some of my videos. Now once I get into, I don't know, 14-inch plus wood, I like to run one of the bigger ones just because, you know, it's faster. That's about the tension I like. You don't need to run it super tight. I feel that it cuts better with the chain not super tight. The longer your bar gets, the tighter you have to run it so that it doesn't pop the chain off. But I like running them a little bit loose. I might tighten it up just a teeny bit, just so they don't have any chain throws, since this will be the limbing saw. That's where you're really throwing chains, is when you're limbing. We'll run her right there. Got the West Coast. This is a 661 side cover on this one. Once my theories with my 661 work good, I'll get another side cover for the 661. Next is the 500. We'll see what chains I've got. Probably gonna run 24 on it. We're cutting smaller stuff, probably run. So these are the ones that have I done these yet? No. So we'll probably run this one right here. I think this is also 24. Yeah, it is. We'll run this one. Just gonna do an eyeball on the rakers. On the 500, I want a less aggressive chain for cutting the trees down, and then I don't know, could swap the bar if I want to run a 500 lot, or could just run that 460. So we will put both these 24s. I'd like to get another 24, probably go with the still lightweight 24 or 25, I guess. But that'll be at a later date. I wouldn't mind just finding one that's used on eBay, but not many people sell the lightweight 24s from Still on there. There's nothing wrong with these Sumara bars. A little bit cheaper. Well, they were a little cheaper. I don't know what they are now. But when I bought mine, it was cheaper than a Still lightweight, so that's what I went with. It was the cheapest quality, from what I heard, lightweight. That one's done. I'll squirt a little grease in these. I'll do them all when I'm done, these greasable tip bars. This one's definitely, I think, my favorite of lightweights. I've cut a lot of wood with this one and never had any issues with it. This one's definitely my favorite. It's slightly wider back here than the other ones, even the Still. Only really matters if you're running an 8-tooth. The wording wore off like really quickly on this one, which I don't know, is nice for making sure you're flipping your bar, but it's okay. Just trying to rotate it every time I sharpen it. It's kind of my rakers are a little bit aggressive on this one from just by eye. .24 I'm most nimble with. 28 is fine. I don't have to really bend over at all with 28, but I can run the 24 faster. You know, cut all the limbs off faster, all that kind of stuff. So that's my choice. What I do is I just clean this off. I probably forgot on the other one, but I just kind of clean off just the area that is going to be touching, so I have a nice snug fit. I'm running these, I don't know what brand they are. They're from eBay. On this one, I like the shorter spikes. I probably will get a set of West Coast ones. I gotta look back at my messages to, I think his name is Gordy from West Coast Saw, and see what dogs that he recommends. There's like, maybe it's the 400C ones or something like that, or a little bit shorter. So I'm not cutting really big trees where you'd need those big dogs. But these are nice, you know, to have a set of dogs. And I used to just run the stock one, but it is definitely nice to have these. Specifically for cutting the trees down. I run the chains, the raker's aggressive enough so that, ooh, what's going on here? I think just a little sawdust is built up behind there. We'll run it. I've got a fresh filter on all of my saws since I just went through and did them all the other weekend. That's kind of my policy, is I just do them all at once. Kind of run all my saws about equal, or I try to. Spread the load out. Unless I got something new that I'm testing, you know. A little bit of slop is what I like on my non-saws that I'm not limbing with. That's just what I'm doing. I'll throw that on for now. I know I gotta put a little grease in the bar tip there. That's what you should do, I would assume, pretty much every time you put a new chain on it, or every other time or something like that. So we're running this Japanese bar on this Chinese chainsaw. I think these are my West Coast dogs for my 500. They needed to be modified a little bit. And you can see they're not the same length, so the 500 must have a little bit different, even though it fits. It's a little bit different offset. Ouch. Stuck myself there a little bit. These are very sharp, by the way. I've cut myself a couple times on them. This one, I think we can go look at my chains. I might put another old chain on it. Keep my new ones for the nice clean wood, you know. Let's see if I got an old 24. Ooh, what's this one? Nice and clean. We'll probably run this one right here. Yeah. Touch this one right here up. Get a little chain sharpening content going. Run it on the 063 setting. This is a perfect chain for going and cutting wood at someone else's house. So that's what we'll do. This chain was, I can see it's one of the ones when I was still experimenting with the grind. Got that. And what I'll do is I'll need my marker for my start point. I need one of these. It helps with sharpening chains. It helps keep you focused. Another thing, while we're talking about it, these are really good. This is how I stopped drinking the diet sodas. I used to drink a lot of diet soda. My theory with drinking the diet soda is that it damages your gut microbiome, which has been proven in studies. And what that does in turn, which is what they're not going to tell you out there because they make a ton of money off of it, is it damages your gut microbiome, but then you're more hungry because your body says, I'm not getting the nutrients because your gut's not absorbing the nutrients for your food. So then you're more hungry and then you overeat. And it does the opposite. If you're going to have a soda, I'd say just have a real one. Is my thing, unless you have, like, you know, some type of health condition. But I like these because these only have 4 grams of sugar in them. It's not a soda-like drink. It's it's a sparkling water, but it tastes good. It's a lot more tasteful than water. So that's just, these are kind of what I've been drinking. Nice to have a couple carbonated drinks every now and then. So we'll get this fired up here. Make my little start point marks. And we'll get going. Let me make sure I'm still filming. Yep, we're going. Trying to make more long form content. And dress this wheel up just a teeny bit. It's kind of difficult now that this wheel's so small. But I'm gonna run it until it's gone. Until I can't get, you know, the chain in here. You can see how much smaller that it is now than what it was. See how this looks. We're gonna drop it down a little bit. See what that does. Okay, so there, this feels like the chain that I got too hot, so I might not sharpen this one. This is when I was still learning. Let's see if it's, oh, the teeth are like that. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, if I had time, I may go down there once all this is ready to go for tomorrow. I really want to make that comparison video. I think that'd be cool. Don't know how this one will do. But I can hear, just by sharpening it, that I think I've altered the temper of the tooth. So I don't know, I'm kind of deciding whether I want to use this one or not. I'm just going to get a different one. This one's going to become a stump chain. Pretty much almost gone anyways. But yeah, I mean, it took a couple chains to get all this figured out. That's another one there. I had more of a steep angle and I didn't really know what I was doing back there. So we'll put stump chains. I need to get a couple more of these going for all my new chains. Ooh, this would be a perfect chain. The rakers are high. This would be a perfect chain. I'm just going to touch it up. Just a teeny bit here. It looks like I just ground it. But yeah, this would be a perfect chain as long as it's the right length. Let's see what it is. I have one in this rotation that's had one drive link added to it for running the Husqvarna stuff. So yeah, let's just touch this one up a little bit. This will be the chain that I use to cut the trees down with. Not doing much of anything here. I'm just making sure they're all perfect. Make sure, okay, that one got a little bit warm. So we'll dial it back just a teeny bit. I think my table is sinking into the ground here. I had it the perfect height, so I'm not bending over, so I need to dig it back up a little bit. So I'm not looking down. I would think that you'd kind of want it, you know, just slightly below eye level. And that's how it was set up originally here. I've settled on these settings, running this one all the way forward and this one however far that is, just because it's easy on a new chain. Then I'd have to take the rakers way down, and it stays sharp pretty good. We'll run around one more time just to be sure, make sure they're all about the same. That chain on that 500i should fly. Rakers are pretty aggressive on that one. Should blaze right through it. I think one of the trees is a walnut. Never cut any walnut trees, so that'll be kind of interesting. I think the other two at the first job are some type of gum. And then the second job, it's maples. So it'll fly through that maple. I know, and the gum. The gum's also pretty soft, too. I always like to have one spare wheel on hand, so once this one's gone, I'm gonna order another one. Just so I always have one ready to go. Alright, that's this side. We'll touch this other side up here. Keep the settings the same. Need a slightly longer, well, I guess I didn't mark the other side. We'll do a quick dress up here. But yeah, the wheel's getting so short now that I like to go from inside out, but the wheel's so short now that can't really start from the top, so I'm going to be real careful. Multi-point stone on here. These are stock angles. How it came. We'll bring this corner down a little bit. Keep that nice profile that I like. That's all just by eye. And see, it always seems that this side here is slightly lower, so I just try to take the same amount. And loosen it up and take it down just a teeny bit. I'm pinching the chain to hold it still, kind of pulling down against the arm here and then pinching this one towards me. We'll do 2 really light passes. I always make a light passes. I'd rather do multiple light passes and not run the risk of getting those teeth too hot, and the chain won't stay sharp as long if you get them too hot. Kind of having to slouch to see what I'm doing here. That's not good. Had 9 inches of rain the other night from that storm. So another future update, since you've watched this far, I'll tell you, is I'm going to buy a new four-wheeler. Well, a used four-wheeler, but it's 2022, going with the Sportsman 1000S. So it's the wider chassis. Should be a good wood haul machine. We'll see how well it holds up versus my old ones. Going with the 1000S because I've kind of already cut all of the wood. Oop, that was not good. I've already cut all the wood that's easy to get to. So now we're getting into the tougher stuff. I need a little bit more of a four-wheeler to get that wood out, or get a decent amount of it out at a time. Maybe a new ATV trailer build this winter. Kind of thinking that'd be one of my projects. I'm kind of thinking for this trailer, what I want to do is make it a dump trailer. I don't know, I gotta kind of calculate how much more I feel like that's going to weigh. I can just design a rough model in SolidWorks, and then it'll give you the estimated weight if you put the materials in there. It's either going to be a dump trailer or a winch operated, like grader style trailer, which I may go with the grader style if it's lighter. And the four-wheelers are not very heavy, so you're really trying to keep the weight down of the trailer. Like this trailer right here, I'll show you. This is one that my dad built, but it's super lightweight. The frame is really thin. Good, you know, American-made steel on this one. I've got a other one that's a Harbor Freight one that's, I don't know, probably 100 pounds heavier, but it's also weaker as well. I mean, it's just a heavier trailer. It does have suspension or springs in it, but this one's just a rigid trailer. You don't need suspension on a off-road trailer. And, you know, kind of the thought with building a new trailer is to be able to run dual wheels on it. And, you know, I can go a little bit wider as far as the wheels are, so that the trailer's still the same width as my new four. You know, these are 48 inches wide, and this new one's 55, so I have another 3.5 inches per side. I'll keep the same internal width here. I feel like this is kind of your max of what a four-wheeler can pull out of the woods that I'm running in. I mean, if I was living on only flatland, I'd have a bigger trailer. But basically, what I was saying is go with the dual axle, one of those tandem, I forget what they're called, but it's like a center axle and then a rotating other, you know, whatever axles on it. I've seen them on the internet. I don't know what exactly is the name for them, but maybe make something like that with, you know, more of an off-road tire. What happens with this one, if you get enough weight in it, you haul in like, I don't know, 1,300, 1,400 plus pounds of weight in here, these tires actually sink into the ground a little bit. These are just, I think these are boat trailer tires here, or I mean, they're almost the equivalent of like a spare tire. That's what we used to run on here, was just spare tires from the junkyard that they pulled off of cars. But narrower tire to try to keep the width small. I mean, the other tires had more of an offset, the spares, so that's why this is kind of out a little bit. But tires were getting bad on that one, and it was cheaper to just get this new set here, so that's what we did. I think my dad got these from Walmart. But yeah, so I mean, if that new four-wheeler is what I think that it's going to be, probably going to need to build a new trailer, and might as well make it a dump trailer, so that I can get the wood out of the woods faster and get it unloaded quicker. And it'll be useful for other projects too. Hauling dirt, hauling rocks, whatever it may be. Should be a fun build. I think I'm gonna go get this four-wheeler next weekend. Looks like next weekend is gonna be another busy weekend for me. No tree work lined up, but I got a lot of landscaping stuff to do with my best friend. Huh, that's a loud bird. Kind of sounds like something out of like the Commando movie where they're in the jungle. I don't think I've heard one of those types of birds before. I'm assuming that it's a bird. See that tooth wanting to move a little bit. I just didn't have it tight enough here. I'm gonna try to get this one edited and uploaded this afternoon. I'll go up and get it started on Adobe so it's rendering. Because when you're filming with the GoPro, it does like 11-minute or something like that length videos, and this is obviously a lot longer than an 11-minute video. So yeah, I need to do something about this table. Maybe weld some bigger feet on here so it stops sinking into the ground. Can't even see the bottom of the feet anymore, but it's definitely sunk down a good bit. I had it perfect. Made this arm the perfect height for what I wanted, but this chain should run pretty good too. Just have to press on it a little harder versus that 500i chain. Perfect chain for cutting trees down. I probably will leave that chain that's on that that red saw, that 694. Oops, slight little mishap there. I didn't have it all the way back. Be okay if it's only one. I think that's good. So we'll throw this one on this 460. Personally, I like the 440 better. I think that my 440 runs a little bit better. But this one also runs pretty good too. It's got decent power. But my favorite one is that 440. I'm probably even gonna rob this decomp off of this one. They're like $20 for a new Husqvarna OEM decomp. You want the Husqvarna one if you're running a higher compression saw, because they got a little bit bigger vent holes in them. We'll kind of get it tighter here, make sure the chain is running true. Something like that. Throw the side cover on here. Really no need for me to bring the 880. I've already went and looked at this job. The trees are not that big, but I do have to get all my other stuff ready tonight. My friend is going to be here tomorrow at, I guess, 8, so we'll get going. Always seems to take longer getting ready than what you think. Looks like a decent tension, so we'll run it right there. Your bar, when you're checking it, then you tighten it up. Why is it getting tighter? Is because your bar is in here at a little bit of an angle before you tighten it up, so it's in there kind of like this. So the total distance is shorter when it's at a little bit of an angle versus when it's perfectly straight. So that's why it tightens up a little bit. So I just that looks like a good tension to me. Maybe go a teeny bit tighter. We'll bump it back just a teeny bit. That looks good. Not super tight. Other people like doing that. That's, you know, their saw. They can do whatever they want, but I don't feel that that is necessary. On the long bars, I understand why they're doing it, so that you're not throwing its chains as often. That's actually a little loose. So we'll go a little bit more, and we should be perfect. And then I'll fill all these up while they're all out here. So tomorrow I'm ready to go. There's a teeny adjustment there. I'm gonna get everything out here. I don't think it's gonna rain tonight. I'll put saws back in tonight, but get everything else ready. I need my come along, I need my ladder, and kind of all those things, ratchet strap to hold the ladder into my truck. Looking good. Let's go find some bar covers. I need to locate my little grease gun. Don't know exactly where that's at. Oh, there it is. Just gonna get the bar cover for that one. I like to just throw the cover on just to protect the chain, since I spent all this time getting these chains all dialed in. Just kind of gives a little peace of mind after all your work, you know. And I'll leave that other one. I like the thinner ones, but you know, these are fine too. So we'll grease both these greasable tips up here next. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what one of these new four-wheelers has got. I looked up the rated power of my Sportsman 600. That one's a 2003. I'm gonna do both sides and then rotate the chain a little bit. And that's probably good. Maybe it'd be a little too much, but oh well. That one's done. We'll do 2 pushes in there. This tool I got at Lowe's. Any of them will work. I think just Lowe's is the Oregon dealer. I think all these are about the same. Get a Track Supply or whatever farm type store you got. So all good here. Next step is to gas them all up. And I'm gonna bring that red saw. I'm gonna leave the chain and bar on there that's on there. It's fine. It's good enough. Just in case something happens tomorrow. That one's, I know, is already full. So we'll just get the gas and oil going here. My local still store is also having an oil sale, so I might load up on probably just the regular still oil, the orange stuff. I feel like that's probably fine. Now that I'm not running that 8-tooth anymore, I don't seem to have any chain overheating issues once I went back to the 7. You know, all these saws here have a 7-tooth on them, by the way. Want to be careful. You don't want to overfill her. It makes a huge mess. I'd rather run it a little bit low. Just running a 40-1 Formula K2. I think it's by a brand called Maxima. Seems to have good burn properties, good lubricity. So that's what I've been using. I'm gonna run this bottle and then maybe, I don't know, try something else or stay with this one. I used to run Distill orange can stuff. I'm gonna blow this one off. This one's a little dirty from where I overfilled that oil, it looks like last time. Pop this off. can't do that out in the field, so I always do it. And then the other thing I do is, just to prevent any of this sawdust that's here right on the cap, I just run my finger in here and clean all that off, wipe it on my pants. That's the oil on the 500. And we'll do the gas. I need to get myself a saw log up here by the house, so I don't have to roll down in the woods to a stump to do a test cut. I've got a couple test logs over there, some hickories. That'd be a good test log, nice and hard. Kind of stringy wood. And this one I'll blow it off too while we're right here. Got everything ready. I mean, we'll definitely clog your fuel filter. I don't know necessarily what it would do on the oil pump side of things, but it can't be doing anything good. Wipe this one out too, just like I did the other one. Yep. Also pretty excited to do this 400C. I'll do the machine work this coming week here. My work, it's about to pick up, about to go into busy season, so I take all the another thing is, I take all those oil lanyards off, these little things. I don't feel that you need to do that on the gas cap side, but on the oil side with that string, I mean, it just makes a huge mess. So I just take those off. The design on that Solo one is nice. It's a plastic, so I left those on because I feel like it doesn't do anything negative like these little string ones do on these stills. So all my still saws have at least the oil one off. You know, the gas side, it's not as sticky as the oil is, so it's not as needed, but I take all the oil ones off. There's no need for that, in my opinion. I've never lost a filler, you know, a cap. So yeah, so that's kind of what I think about that. So got these three done. I'll just run that red saw with what it's got. These three should be plenty to do those trees. If they're not, I'll just swap a chain here at the house. I've got one fresh 24 new out of the box one here that I just converted over to square. I need to take the rakers down a teeny bit on this one, just take them down a scooch. So I feel will be fine. But this chain here, I like the outcome of this one. This one should fly too. Even with those big long teeth, it should fly. I may sharpen these other chains here. This one here looks like it had a little bit of damage. This is the 28 here. And this is a 20 that I need to probably do. So I'll probably do this one next. Might as well. This one's clean, ready to go. And I've got everything out, so might as well just sharpen another one. One right here. Use some of those boxes to store them in case I need to switch chain out in the field. We'll turn this on. We'll do a quick dress. I always dress it lightly just to get all that buildup off. The buildup is greatly reduced if you clean your chains with some gas before you sharpen them. Gas is the cheapest medium that I think you can use to clean your chains with. Would be cool to have a little parts cleaner tank thing for doing the chains and then be able to reuse the gas. I may invest in that. Get myself a Harbor Freight one. I think the quality of the Harbor Freight stuff is decent. And I use a lot of their stuff, so let's see here. We're gonna bring her down. This seems to be the best method for me, is to kind of come slightly below and then get it dialed in. I'm gonna go up a little bit more. We're gonna do light passes again, just like I always do, just to prevent that tooth from getting too hot. 20-inch here, so this one should go pretty quick. Couple less teeth. I don't know. I know 72 drive length versus 84, so that's 12 less drive lengths. This will be the initial setting here. Probably do a total of 3 passes looking at the condition of this chain. It's okay. Could definitely be worse, but I do want to make some test cuts with that 400 before I port it. Same log. See what my percentage gain is on that one. Seems that the person on YouTube that's got the best running 400C is Charles Briscoe. So I'll probably do something similar to what he's, said that it's been done to his, numbers wise. I'm not going to do a dome on the piston. I may, but I don't think I want to do that. That piston is a magnesium piston, and I guess it has some type of coating on it for the heat. I don't know. I may do the taper. It just depends on how much time I have and how much it looks like I can raise the transfers, based off of the casting. Like a 661, I ground through the upper transfers. My 500i, it's got really thick transfer molding or casting, so I took a lot of material off the base trying to get a formula that I liked. We'll see. I might make an adjustment here. Yeah, we'll bring it down slightly. I'm gonna go up a little bit. That looks good. Go up a little more. Want to make sure that your little placeholder thing here is not touching the wheel. Your grinder will make a little bit different sound if you're touching that. So just check that if you got one of these chain grinders. I highly recommend one of these. I would say if you cut more than 10 cords of wood a year, this is worth it in my book. You got a couple saws. You can fly through the chain sharpening on this guy. As you're seeing, I can go a little faster if I'm not talking, but the speed difference and material removal, especially when you got a chain that's been rocked or something, is substantial. Let me make sure this camera's still running. I'm not just talking to myself here. We're good. Yeah, the GoPro, I think it's a Hero 9 or a Hero 10, I forget what it is, but they got the bigger batteries on them than my old Hero 8. I think when they went to the 9 is when they put the bigger battery, better stabilization. The Hero 8 was, I think, the first one that had that upgraded stabilization, which was a big improvement. Let's take a peek here, make sure we're not getting her too hot. Looking good. We'll probably call this good, honestly. I think this is enough material removed to get that corner back to decent cutting condition. I'd rather take less because these chains are expensive. Will I have the fastest cutting chain? No, but I can cut a lot more wood if I don't make them all super, totally perfect kind of thing. And let's find that one I marked right there. We'll start right there. Move your marker back over. And we'll eyeball this one once that wheel stops. I mean, we're getting pretty much to the end here. We're almost to, you know, you can see pretty much. I'm going to stop it once I get to that point right there. It's pretty hard to dress this wheel right now. We'll bump it up. It's kind of easiest to do it like this. Going the other way, get my light over here. Multi-point stones on here. Definitely well worth it upgrade. They're not cheap, but definitely has a smoother cut, you know. That looks good. Get that light down there. Probably do 2 on this side. This side looks to be a little bit better condition. This must be one of the chains that I've sharpened more recently, now that I've got my methods dialed in. Went through a phase of changing the settings around, trying to figure this thing out, but now I've got something I like. I'm quite surprised this GoPro battery hasn't died yet. I think I've been filming for a little bit here. We'll see when I edit it. Using Adobe Premiere for my editing. Just what I'm most comfortable using. Nice software. Definitely not using it to its full potential. I'm just stitching the videos together and editing out, you know, the times where there's nothing going on, you know. But as my channel grows, I'll get more into the editing as it becomes more worth it. Try to make more enjoyable content. Maybe some more tutorial kind of stuff. Alright, we're going to drop it down just a teeny bit. Just like that, very light amount. Not quite enough. Try that. Oh yeah. That looks good. We'll go around 3 times. Since that pass looks a little heavier than what I want to take. I'm just doing it by eye. There's no doing it the same in the other side, because this one, I don't know if other ones are different, but it seems that between the 2 sides it's not the same. So I try to remove about the same amount of material based off of, you know, what it looks like to my eye, and it cuts pretty straight, pretty good. That's what I'm doing. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years. Or almost 20 years sharpening chains. Been running running saws for 20 years. So you kind of know exactly what you're looking for. I'm gonna be running 2 GoPros tomorrow. I'll have my friend wear one of them. We'll see what kind of cool content I can create, since I'm gonna be winching these trees. These 3 trees at this first job are all leaning over this guy's workshop. Someone else that I work with, I told him I'd help him out. Help him out, get a little more money in my pocket. Alright, last pass here. Really just focusing on that point of that wheel and getting that to line up with this corner here. That's what I'm looking at. Now we're at the final depth, what we're taking. You want that corner to be right in the corner of the tooth, but I'm sure you know that. You've got one of these. The other thing is with this chain grinder versus the round is I'm much more consistent on this one. Now that I've got it figured out, every chain I do on here cuts good. It's just a little bit easier to use. Was a little bit of a steep learning curve trying to get the settings that I wanted dialed in. But once I got that established, then I was good to go. Kind of curious with the rakers. They look pretty low on this one. Looks like I'd made her pretty hungry. I like the 050 chain the most. I've got some 063 and some 404 stuff. Oh, looking good. Yeah, that one's cut pretty good too. Let's see how even we are. Yeah, it looks a little bit off, but I had to take that other side down a little bit more, so that's fine. It still should cut pretty straight based off of the other ones that I've done. Let's look at that raker height. That looks still plenty hungry, so we'll roll with it. So that's another one done. I think I'm gonna wrap this video up here. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.